So welcome to the Cyber Secrets download. This project is going to teach you all the techniques that I have discovered and utilized for the past 3 months to create miracles in the homes of strangers. These principles, once you learn them, you will see that you can adapt and apply them to a multitude of different routines. I will teach you 3 of the routines that I have been using these for, but you will understand very quickly just how adaptable they are. I think it's fair to say that this situation for everyone is shit. There is no other way to put it, but the fact that we have got the ability now to still share magic with audiences around the world is amazing. And I think being able to adapt and apply new ways of thinking to enhance our magic is crucial. The reason I want to share these techniques with you right now is because I believe these are just some of the pillars that we can start building on to allow us to recreate, redefine, and ultimately share even stronger magic with our audiences who are sitting at the other side of the camera. Now, I am well aware that performing on Zoom and StreamYard, YouTube, all of these platforms is difficult, but it is possible. A number of people I have seen perform are doing material that is very process heavy. I made a conscious decision when I wrote my own show to make sure that it was process minimal. Basically, these techniques you're about to see eliminate the process from the show itself. The problem with process is that really it's only entertaining for the person that you're doing it on, and ultimately everyone else who is left watching that process, their experience is diminished or diluted even more. Therefore, it's crucial that while you are in the performance, the material that you're doing cuts straight to the amazing moments as quickly as possible. And furthermore, it's key that to make people feel like they're not just watching TV, that they're actively engaged in the magic, that you are involving them in their own houses with their own props as much as you possibly can. I can absolutely assure you that the more you do engage these people and create that sense of community within this online environment in your show, the stronger the response to the magic will be, and ultimately, the more desirable your show is going to become. One of the first things that I learned using the platform Zoom, and to be honest, it's really only Zoom that allows this, but I will talk about how to get around this later. But using Zoom, when you have set up your event, you are able, whilst people are in the waiting room to come in to watch the show, you are able to admit people, to speak to them one-on-one, and then move them back into the waiting room so that later they can be brought in after a larger audience has gathered. What this effectively allows you to do is pre-show that person with any type of process and move them back into the waiting room before the show begins. I can assure you that if your show starts at 7 p.m, people will start trying to admit themselves into the show 20 to 30 minutes early. That is the prime time to bring those people in who are clearly keen to be part of the magic, to bring them in early and actively perform any type of process on them so that later during the show you are able to perform just the meat of the routine for the entire audience, knowing that whilst you have performed process on one person, like I said earlier, the process to that individual tends to not be boring or laborious if done with charisma, and in this case with seeming purpose, which we'll get to. But ultimately, by doing the process up front with that person, you will streamline your magic and ultimately make it way stronger for everyone else who is watching it. So this is really the first thing that I'm sharing with you, the ability to pre-show someone by bringing them, admitting them into your performance, speaking to them one-on-one, and then moving them back to the waiting room. When you do this, I recommend that before the show begins, you don't bring that person in first, you admit other people and bring them in later so it feels to everyone else like that person wasn't even the first person there. This technique alone has allowed me to set up and ultimately perform effects that seem like genuine miracles. Not just to the audience at large, but even to the person that you pre-show, they are still blown away because of the way in which I have constructed the routines you are going to learn. So as much as this is essentially pre-show, but pre-show for magic, not so much mentalism, as much as it is pre-show, there's also an element of dual reality. Now, I'm aware there are articles and debates that have discussed how many realities are involved within a routine. When I say dual reality, I simply mean that for one person or a few spectators, one routine is occurring, but for the majority of the audience, a larger and probably more impressive routine is being performed. The benefit of performing dual reality in this environment is that the process that the individual or the small group of people take part in before the show, they tend to find that more entertaining. The fact that they are having a personal moment with you, the performer, before the show, they are ultimately more amazed by the effect that you will execute, because they themselves know that even though there was process, it was incredibly fair, and because the magic is actively happening in their homes, their reactions are going to be even stronger than everyone else's. So the truth is, in this environment, the dual reality balance very much levels out. So the people that you've pre-showed, the people experiencing what I would typically refer to as being the minor effect, are even more impressed than the rest of the audience from one aspect, but because of that even more astounding larger effect the majority of the audience see, they're even more stunned. So again, the reactions are more or less balanced, but ultimately you are able to just perform routines that really should be impossible. So now that you understand that the key goal here is to bring someone into the performance before the show actually begins, to speak to them one-on-one, if you're using another platform than Zoom, what you can do is email one of your participants and you can FaceTime with them before the show away from everyone else, because StreamYard would not allow you to do this privately. Other people could be admitted and see this take place. You want to make this as hidden and as invisible as possible. But you can, like I say, email that individual, FaceTime call them, and I'm going to speak a little later about how valuable actually FaceTiming them is and how much easier that makes some of the things you're going to see me talk about. But for now, let's imagine that you're using Zoom and you are simply bringing people one-to-one for a conversation before the show into your Zoom platform. So just for clarity, the way that you admit people into your Zoom platform before the show is to select this option here. From the drop-down list, it says Admit. You will bring that person into your meeting. You will then chat to them one-on-one, and when you have finished performing the pre-show that you choose to do, you simply move them back into the waiting room by selecting this option here. So now that you're up to speed on how to bring someone in and out of the Zoom meeting, we will now look at some of the pre-show that I have used to create these effects. The easiest way to show you this is to simply let you see the pre-show that I talked people through before we went live in the main show. You will see that while some of this is pretty bold and to the point, the dual reality, the mix of effects of what some people are experiencing compared to the rest of the audience, you will discover very quickly that there are still amazing moments happening for everyone, and that is what ensures everyone is left stunned by these routines.
Hello?
Hey, there we are. I love it. Do me a favor. Do you have a deck of cards right there?
Yes.
You do. Do me a favor. Just let me see, because in a second I'm going to have you do something with one card. Can I just see around your room a little bit? You'll understand why in a second. Let's go. Keep moving around. Let me see. Oh, right. Perfect. Here, there's a box of tissues there. We'll use that. Do me a favor. Take the cards out of the box. Okay. And what you're going to do is, are you a magician?
No.
Okay.
I dabbled for a bit back in the day.
Right. But
yeah.
Can you shuffle cards?
Relatively.
Relatively. That is good enough, my friend. So do me a favor right now. Shuffle the cards, okay? Pro shuffling. I love it. And what you're going to do is I'm going to have you both look away But there's a certain card or a certain type of card, that will make sense later, that I'm looking for. I don't want you to see it, but I want you to cut the deck, and I want you two will look away, but I want you to show me what the bottom card is so that I can see if it's going to work, okay? So cut the deck once.
Yeah.
And then don't you look, complete the cut. So put the top on the, perfect. You look away, show me what the card is. Cut one more time, just cut the deck one more time, just so that it's, and let me see. Yeah, let's go for that. Keep it face down. Keep it face down. Can I ask your name, sir?
Ryan.
Ryan. So what I want you to do is not look at it, but I want you to take the card and I want you to sit it underneath the box of tissues. But don't look at it. Keep it there. That's going to be the big finish, okay? So keep it hidden under the box. Sit the box back up to the side. And we're going to come back to that very soon, okay, guys? So I'm going to put you back in the waiting room. There's one more thing to get ready. Keep it there. Don't look at it, and I'll speak to you very soon, okay? But stay there, keep your deck ready, and don't check what it is. No peeking. See you in a second.
So as you've just seen, the pre-show is very bold and to the point, but I make it seem like it is for a reason, for a purpose that will be apparent later. So as much as those guys know that one card has been placed in that location, they don't know what that means. They have no idea what the outcome of the effect is going to be. So later, when that card is the one chosen and they're going through their deck, ultimately they are genuinely stunned, as stunned as everyone else, that that card matches the choice. Their routine, the effect that is essentially being performed on that group of people, that couple in this case, it could be an individual, but that couple in this case, the effect they experienced is that someone named a card at random, they found the card in my deck, and then, not only that, it is also the one card that I predicted before the show that they have placed sight unseen in an impossible location.
Everything you've done so far, Nicholas, has been conscious. So I'm now going to have you make a very unconscious choice. So you're thinking of something you didn't think you would think of. Make sense? Good, I hope so. Nicholas, just go with me. This will work, I promise. Okay, just relax. Imagine there's not a real deck of cards in front of you. Imagine a deck of cards. So forget the deck that's there, okay? Nicholas, would you take out the red cards or the black cards? You pick, red or black. What do you take out?
Red.
Take out the red, so you're only left with the black. And you know there are spades and clubs. Have you seen The Matrix, where it goes into slow motion?
Yes.
You throw some up in the air, bullet time, I believe it's called. Slow motion, do you throw the clubs or the spades? You pick.
Clubs.
Clubs, and it's slow motion. Let's imagine you also have a lighter with a green flame. Green flame. So the clubs are moving, slow motion. You've got a lighter with a green flame. You can move very quickly. Do you burn the odd cards or the even cards? Green flame, odd or even?
Even.
Even. So the green flames, that's the 2, the 4 would be the low ones, and then like the 8 and 10 would be the high clubs. Which two do you turn? Which two do you turn face down? Excuse me.
The 8 or the 10?
So the 8 and 10 are face down. You're looking at the 4 of clubs and the 2 of clubs are burning with a green flame. You mix them up and you hand one of them to me, Nicholas. So again, this is completely random. Do you give me the 2 of clubs or the 4 of clubs? Which do you give me?
Giving you the 4.
You're giving me the 4 of clubs. The 4 of clubs. So that's an unconscious choice. And I have my own deck of cards here, Nicholas. And if I start dealing through the cards one at a time, the 4 of clubs is like a random card, okay? Whenever you want, you're just going to say the word stop, and the next card is going to be the card that we'll go with, okay? So as soon as you say stop, that's where we'll stop. But keep thinking 4 of clubs while we do this, okay? And whenever you want, Nicholas, you say stop.
Stop.
Right here, this card.
I'm going to lose my mind. I don't want you to be right.
You picked 4 of clubs. You decided where we stopped. Nicholas.
Oh my goodness!
Before we go any further, there's a piece of paper over here, okay? That might be important. What I want you to do is spread through the cards and count like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll remember the number. Bear in mind that's there from the beginning. We'll remember the number that what card did you want? The 4 of clubs is at, okay? So do it close to the camera, and everyone watching, remember the number that the 4 of clubs lands on. So do it nice and quickly. Go for it.
1, 3.
You can count out loud. 3, 4. Yep, keep it louder.
6, 7, 8,
3,
9,
44,
45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. And then we've got the 51, which is the 10 that we were taking out, and then it's not there, I
It's
presume.
not there. There's only 51.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on. Because this piece of paper
Come on.
says under the tissue.
Oh, no.
Don't move. Don't move.
Okay.
Do you guys have any tissues there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, don't move. Turn the camera. Let's see where do you have tissues? And we're thousands of miles away, and Nicholas wanted the 4 of clubs, and we genuinely don't know each other, but can you please pick up the box of tissues,
Don't do it.
drop the box of tissues, show everyone what's there, show them what's there? One card, turn over the card and show them what card is it.
Oh, no.
Now, after the pre-show, when I move them back to the waiting room, a few things do need to happen. The first thing is that I take a sheet of paper and I write on there the place, the location that they have hidden the card. Also make sure that you remember which card it is they have hidden. I recommend the first thing you do is take your own deck of cards, bring that card out, leave it face up so that you don't forget. But you'll then write down where they've hidden it, and you'll place the paper, like I place it over on this unit. You will place it somewhere so that it's visible the entire time. Now, during the performance, I have basically forced this card on this individual a number of different ways, just so that you see that all of these are impressive to your audiences. One of the methods is using Equivocate, Magician's Choice, Equivoke, which I'll get into in a second. The other option is that you simply don't do that, but you have your deck of cards, and let's imagine the card that you want to force is the 6 of hearts. I would recommend that you place the 6 of hearts in the 5th position. Now, to start with, you can legitimately shuffle this deck as long as you leave the top 5 cards in place, but the audience will see that these are genuinely mixed, and as you spread through the deck, you perform a Hofstens or Cull force so that every other card is spread beneath, so that when the person says stop, you clarify where they mean, and I leave it sticking out, so that then when I tap it against the rest of the cards, it's then in position to show 6 of hearts. So as I'm spreading through the cards, I get to the 5th card, my thumb holds the 4th card in position, my right hand index finger pulls the 6 off to the side, and now every other card is loaded underneath the 5th card down, the 4th card, the card that you need that person to name. And as soon as they say stop, you square up the deck, you show them the card, in this case the 6 of clubs, and it will of course match the card that's been hidden before the show. If you only want to perform this force, I assure you, as you saw in the video, it is a very fair way of selecting a card, and genuinely everyone will still be stunned that that randomly chosen card is the one that is hidden underneath the tissue box. The other way that you can force the card is of course to second deal through the deck. Now, I'll be honest and say my second dealing is dreadful. However, if you are proficient with second dealing and you want to deal through the cards and show them one-on-one to be different, showing that every single card in the deck is a different card, then you absolutely can. Because of the camera angles, if you want to be bold and perform essentially the glide where you slide the top card down and you're basically just dealing the cards one at a time from the top, showing that they are all different, I guarantee this will fly just as well. And of course, when they get to say stop, you slide the pack down, showing that the card on top is still the 8 of spades. All of these are viable options for physically forcing a playing card on someone to match what is essentially your prediction, or in this case, your card in an impossible location. Now, I'm a massive fan of Equivocate and psychologically forcing things on people. What I will say is that if you're performing a number of card routines within your show, and you're having people name cards, pick cards, or just suggest things at random, I guarantee that there will be occasions when someone says or picks the card that has been hidden for the end of the show. And if this happens, I would recommend that you say to the person, now you suggested that completely at random, correct? They'll agree. Say, look, that's going to be the card that we're aiming for at the very end. So please write that card down now on a piece of paper, on your hand. Don't forget it. We're going to come back to your choice at the end of the show. Because if that card comes up organically, there is no fairer way to have had that card be named. Now, if you, like me, don't do many card routines in your performance, I genuinely love performing equivocate on people, especially when, in a scenario like this, people have no idea why they're going through this process, and even if they somehow feel like you are psychologically manipulating them slightly, it doesn't then explain how you were able to make that impossible thing happen. In this case, the card appear somewhere else, in a house thousands of miles away from where you are. The equivocate I use is my variation of Joshua Quinn's equivoke process from his book Paralyze. In my opinion, Joshua Quinn's approach to this is the best I have ever seen. I have used it a lot over the years. I have tweaked the wording, but full credit to this from my approach genuinely goes to Joshua because it is phenomenal. The way I begin is I say to the person, imagine a deck of cards in front of you. Do you take out the red cards or the black cards? I'm just going to not even look here. I'm just going to take a random card out the deck. So let's say I'm trying to force the 9 of diamonds. That's the card that's been hidden. When I say to the person, imagine a deck of cards in front of you. Do you take out the red cards or the black cards? Now, if they say they take out the red cards, I immediately say, and you know that the cards that are red are hearts and diamonds. If they say, I take out the black cards, I indicate take out as if dropping on the floor, and I say, okay, you take out the black cards, so you're only left with the hearts and the diamonds. Essentially, equivocate, in my opinion, is multiple outs with words. Regardless of what the person says, you should know exactly what your follow-up statement will be so that it seems like that was the only thing you were ever going to say. If you say it with confidence and conviction, it will feel truly organic. So do you take out the red cards or the black cards? You take out the black, so you're only left with hearts or diamonds. I immediately start saying, have you seen The Matrix where it goes slow motion like bullet time, yeah? Imagine you throw some up in the air. Do you throw the hearts or the diamonds? It's slow motion. I put emphasis on a detail that may or may not be important later, because if they say they throw the hearts up in the air, I say perfect. So you're only left holding the diamonds. If they say, I throw the diamonds up in the air, I say, and remember, they're going slow motion, bullet time. And I now put the focus on that choice. So again, it's multiple outs with different forking directions with words. Now you're on diamonds. I then say, in this case, it's a number card. If it was a picture card, for example, the Jack of Clubs, at this point I would say, imagine you have a lighter with a green flame. Do you burn the number cards or the picture cards? In this case, it's a number, so I simply say, imagine you have a lighter with a green flame, a green flame. Do you burn the odd cards or the even cards? Remember, it's a green flame. Again, I'm adding emphasis to the important, seemingly detail of the flame, which in this case I'm saying is green. So that if they say they want to burn the odd cards, I say, and you see it burning with a green flame, yes? It feels like I was adding that detail to emphasize that's the thing that we're going to use. If they say they burn the even cards, perfect, they're gone, you're left with only the odd cards. But if they say burn the odd cards, you say, and they're all burning with a green flame. So that's the 3, the 5, the 7, and the 9 that are burning, yes? They'll say yes. You turn 2 of those face down. Now at this point, I emphasize the suit again, so there's no confusion. I say, so that's the 3 of diamonds, the 5 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds, and the 9 of diamonds. Which 2 do you turn face down? If they say a random card and the 9 are face down, I say perfect. So they're now face down, you don't know which one's which, but you hand one to me. Obviously, if they say that they turn face down 2 cards, not including the 9, I would say, so you're left only looking at the name of the random card and the 9 of diamonds. Imagine you mix them around over and over again and you hand one to me. Which one do you hand me? So really I'm giving them not a lot of time to process all of that information. All they've done is say that they're turning 2 face down. I then continue moving, saying that, you know, regardless of what happens, because that's the purpose of the equivocate, is that with confidence you mix them around, you hand one to me, which one do you hand me? Now if they say that they hand you the force card, the 9 of diamonds in this case, I lock that in. Now, thanks to the Doc Hilford / John Stetson principle here, you can actually say to the person, do you want to switch? It's entirely up to you. Nope, from all the cards, you're happy with 9 of diamonds. The reason being, if that person says they're handing you the card that isn't the 9 of diamonds, let's say they hand you the 5 of diamonds, you say, okay, so you're keeping the 9 of diamonds for yourself. Of all the cards, you're keeping the 9 of diamonds. Do you want to switch? Now, if they say yes, it's totally fine because you say, cool, so you're handing me the 9 of diamonds. The 9 of diamonds is the one card that you want me to have. All the emphasis at this point goes on following where the 9 of diamonds ends up. Either it's the card that they have given you, and that becomes the important card, or it's the card that they keep for themselves from all the cards in the deck. Ultimately, this process will narrow down to one card, the force card, the card that is hidden in that impossible location. So now, when you have your spectator with the deck of cards, pick it up and deal through the cards one at a time. You're asking them to remember the position that that card is at. Everyone at this point thinks that the prediction that you're pointing out is going to have the number in their deck of where that card is. So now when they get to 51, or maybe 53 if they have the jokers, but you'll get to the end and you'll say, hold on, you only have 51 cards and the 9 of diamonds isn't there. And they'll be like, no. Now they're going to start reacting because they're now piecing together the fact that that card is the one that they've hidden earlier. But to everyone else, it seems like they're freaking out because the card has vanished from their deck. So now when you go over and pick up the paper, which in the video you saw it was under the tissue box, as I unfold that, they start freaking out again because they know where you're now headed, but everyone else is now wondering how that card has impossibly traveled from their deck to that location. So now when you have them lift it up and bring the card back, you will see the reaction from the person finding the card is genuine astonishment, because ultimately someone has named or picked a card at random and that matches the one that they know they freely hid before the show. They have seen that you freely let someone pick, name, or choose a card. So from their point of view, from their perspective, that is completely impossible. Now, when I was testing this material for friends and family to work out their response to and ultimately interrogate them and ask how they felt, especially the people hiding the card, what their experience was, their response was genuinely more impressed than everyone else because they enjoyed that they were part of this experience in a completely different way. The fact that they actively got to do something, to go hide the card, to go find the card, they loved that they were involved and that they were using their environment as part of the show, but ultimately their effect was just as strong as everyone else because they were the ones who actually actively experienced the magic firsthand. And just to be clear, no one here is a stooge. The people that hide the card for you, their effect is that the randomly chosen card matches what is ultimately the prediction for later in the show. And that is why they are still impressed with what it is you are performing. Now, if you want to make this effect seem even more impossible, what you can do is have the person whose deck of cards will be used picked at random so that ultimately it seems like it could have been anyone. The way I recommend you do this is to use the patio force to narrow down to that individual, that household, or that group. The way the patio force works, similarly to the equivoque process, is that you are giving someone a choice of two things, and of those two options, they pick the one that they are going to eliminate. They then pick two things, and you choose of their two options which one will be eliminated. Patio stands for pick any two, eliminate one. Now, when you're picking the two options for one person, you just ensure that you do not name the person whose deck of cards has been used to hide the prediction. This way, it doesn't matter which of the two the other person eliminates because your target person will never be touched. When the other person names two people, if they do name your target individual, you simply eliminate the other person. Now, when you're dealing with objects, sometimes I feel these processes seem a little unnecessary. However, when you're using households and the different windows of people in gallery view, everyone loves that they actively get to take part and participate in what it is that's happening. So in this environment, again, something that I would normally feel is maybe a little procedural, now becomes something fun and playful for everyone to get involved with. And even though you are actively forcing the group or the individual that you would like to use, to everyone else it still seems impossible that even if you were to somehow just choose that person and say, let's use, you know, Sarah or whoever, even if you were just picking the person yourself, it's still an impossible effect. But by having everyone hold up their hands and eliminate, it adds to the routine, it adds to the build-up, and again, just adds that extra level of impossibility.
But Nicholas, let's take it one stage further, right? Let's take it one stage further. We'll keep this card. This will be the 4 clubs, okay? One person in every household, except for Nicholas's, put one hand up in the air. Every single person put one hand up in the air. Keep your hand up. One person in each household. So Nicholas, here's the game. Move your mouse, Nicholas, so that you can see the first names of everyone. And keep your hand up. Don't move your hand until I tell you. But Nicholas, as you move the mouse over, just say the first name of someone.
Alex?
Alex, and name one other person. Everyone keep your hands up. Everyone keep your hand up. Alex or...
Steve.
Steve. So here's the game. Everyone keep your hand up. We're going to go through a quick process to eliminate down, so this is random as well. So Alex or Steve, I will then eliminate one of them. So I'll say, Steve, you can lower your hand. Everyone else, including Alex, keep your hand up. Now, Nicholas, I'll name 2 people and you'll eliminate one. So if I say Arabella or Jason, who do you want to eliminate?
Oh, God. I'm sorry, guys. I can't find Jason. So
That's
Jason,
okay. Jason, lower your hand. Perfect. Now you name 2 people. Name 2 people. We'll get quicker at this, but it's just
Amanda and Kirsty.
Kirsty, lower your hand. Either Ian or Peter.
Peter.
Peter, lower your hand. Now you name 2 people.
Steve and Alex.
Alex, lower your hand. Wave, have you still got your hand up? Okay, so Amanda or Fraser, who would you like to eliminate?
Fraser.
Fraser, you can lower your hand. Now you name 2 people.
The other Fraser and Arabelle.
Let's say the other Fraser can lower their hand. Is that Ian Fraser you're meaning, yeah?
Oh,
yeah, Ian, you can lower your hand. So either, we're almost there, but Amanda or Aiden, who would you like to eliminate?
Not Aiden, so Amanda.
Amanda, lower your hand. Now you name 2 people.
Looks like Dion.
Dion, yep.
And Luis.
Okay, let's eliminate Dion. Only because of the bad connection. Name 2 people.
Aiden and Luis.
Let's go with Aiden, lower your hand. And that leaves us then with Louise or Arabella. Which of those 2 do you have a better feeling about?
This all adds that extra layer of impossibility because you are now choosing everyone apparently at random. So what you've just seen is the first effect that I came up with using this pre-show dual reality principle. But then I got to thinking, how else can this be utilized? And not only what can be set up in advance, but what can you perform for that person that allows you to gain access to far more information than you would possibly be able to know unless you were actually there with them. This is when I realized that you are able to essentially memorize, kind of, the exact order of a shuffled deck of cards from a household that can be thousands of miles away. The way you do this is using the invisible deck. I'm just going to throw that out there and let it sit for a second, because I'm telling you that you are going to use the invisible deck to pre-show someone to gain information, the information being the exact order of their shuffled deck. And here is how you're going to do it.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. Thank you for taking 5 minutes. You
Sure.
brought the squad. You brought the squad. Do
I've
you
got the
by
squad.
chance, hey guys, Amanda, do you by chance have a deck of playing cards?
Yes.
You are amazing. Now you're on your cell phone, right?
Yes, I am.
Is there a way of like you're gonna have to use two hands in a moment? Is there something you can
Yeah.
rest the phone? Oh, I love it. I love it. First of all, take out the cards and can you just give them a shuffle? Keep them face down, but shuffle them. And I want to try two things with you. The first one, this deck of cards here is going to be important in a second.
I can throw my cards.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
You're very
You'll be better than me, I assure you.
Okay, shuffled.
Shuffled, perfect. So what I want you to do right now is, so keep them, I've got this deck here in a box, sealed, okay? Keep them face down, but take one card without looking, turn it face up, and stick it back in the middle of the deck, okay?
Gotcha.
Perfect. So what I want you to do right now is hold up the cards so that I can see the faces, so you'll see the backs, and slowly, I'll keep this deck here, I've got a second one, but from the back, one at a time, can you just spread through so I can see every card? So a little bit slower, a little bit so I can't see past the queen. I need to see them all one at a time because I want to see. So go back for me, Amanda. Go back to the Queen of Hearts. Perfect. And just let me see. So Queen of Hearts, and then spread the next one. Okay, perfect. That's it. You can so that I can see them all, but you can go a tiny bit faster, and you'll remember the one card. That's perfect. That you're nailing it, right? You will remember the one card that's staring you in the face.
Yeah.
So remember it. Keep going through all the way to the end. I don't think I see the one that I've turned one face down in my deck and I've not seen it yet. So I'm very much hoping. Go back through, take out the one card that's face down, and you can make sure that I don't move, okay? This deck of cards will not leave your sight.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And square up the rest. Sit the rest face down on the table for a second. Show me which card you turned face down. This was random, right? The nine of diamonds. The nine of diamonds. Because before we started, I turned one card face down in my deck of cards. The card that I turned face down right in the middle, right here, is the nine of diamonds. Okay, so we're off to a good start. So sit that nine of diamonds on top of your deck. Put that on top of your deck. So that it goes on top. And then carefully put them all into the box and leave them in the box for a moment, because I'm going to say hey to a few more people, but you keep the nine of diamonds on top. We'll come back to that later. I want to see if someone can guess what card's on top. Keep that deck with you. Keep them in the box. I'm going to speak to two more people, and then I'm going to add everyone in. So hang out for like 3 minutes, and I'll add you back in, Amanda, okay? Thank you so much. Thank you.
So basically, I am recording with my phone the order, the sequence of their deck of cards as they are spreading through to show me that one card is face down, and I am apparently looking to ensure that I don't see the one that I'm hoping they have turned over. Now, because I am basically filming the exact setup of their deck of cards, it now allows me, when I put them back into the waiting room, to replay that video and set up my own deck of cards in that exact order. And that is exactly what it is I have done here. Now remember, that person's already blown away that you knew which card they would turn over. That astonishment helps hide the fact that you've had them spread through their deck of cards meticulously. It just seems like you were doing it to make sure that you definitely didn't see the card before they showed you which one was turned over. So when I send them back into the waiting room, I take my deck of cards and I very quickly replay the video and set up my deck in the exact order of theirs. Bear in mind the card that they turned face down when they take it out. Remember exactly where you have them place it on the deck, whether it's on the bottom or the top. It won't really matter because they're going to cut the deck eventually anyway. But I am very clear on my instructions that they carefully put it back in the box and they leave it in the box until later in the show. As much as that might seem like I'm being very careful, what I don't want to have happen is that between them being admitted back to the waiting room and then admitted again into the performance, I don't want them to bring out the cards and show the rest of the group what it is I performed for them one-on-one. I need them to keep that deck in that order, now in the box, hidden out of the way. So I am very clear on the instruction of now keeping it in the box. Now, I said earlier that if you are not using Zoom, that you can email someone, get their number, and FaceTime call them. The beauty of an iPhone is that you're able to screen record a conversation. Now, the way the iPhone works is that you are able, with your phone unlocked and in an audio call, to select record screen. So even when you're on a FaceTime call, you will be able to record exactly what it is that's happening. You will not get the audio, but you don't need the audio, but you will get the video of what that person is showing you, in this case, the deck of cards, in perfect order, so that after the call, you can play it back and look at the exact setup of their deck. Now, I have checked this, and when you screen record, it does not tell the other person that you're recording, so you're completely safe and hidden to do so.
If you've got a deck of cards handy, put your hand up in the air. If not, don't worry about it. Your hand was up first. Amanda's hand was up first. Then it was Emma's second. Okay, so we'll go with you guys. Amanda, keep your cards. Are they in the box, Amanda? Yes or no?
There.
They are. Do me a favor. Carefully take them out of your box. Keep them face down, just beneath the camera if you can, and give your deck one cut as well. Give your deck of cards a cut. So what I mean by that is, yeah, perfect. Like that. So if you square them up like this so that we can see that the all the edges are square, lower your cards as well, tilt them down.
So now in the performance, I have the person bring out their deck of cards from the box, and I say, all I want you to do is cut the cards, complete the cut, and square up the deck. Now, because I am taking my deck of cards and showing them exactly what it is I want them to do with squaring it up, it seems to everyone like I'm just being fair and showing them how to square up the deck. But really, I am subliminally suggesting to them they have to do the exact same thing, because what I do need access to is which card they cut to the bottom. As soon as I know which card is on the bottom, I lower my deck out of the screen and I'm asking them, have you ever played poker before? Are you familiar? And whilst they're answering, I am spreading through, finding the card they've cut to the bottom, and I'm cutting my deck at the exact same place.
And what I want you to do right now is, yes or no, have you played poker before, Amanda?
A long time ago.
A long time ago, but if I say to you, dealing a poker hand, I'm assuming that you know what I mean by that. So you would deal, I've got a deck here, you would deal like one to me. So deal one, keep them out the camera, but deal one to me.
Okay.
And then one to yourself. Then one to me, one to yourself, one to me, one to yourself, back and forward until you're left with 5 cards that would be for me, and then ultimately 5 cards that are for you.
Now, whilst I'm miming to the person to deal 2 poker hands, so a card to me close to the camera and a card to them, it seems to everyone else like I'm using this randomly shuffled deck to help them to understand what it is I need them to do. But the reality is I am now dealing the exact cards they are dealing from a deck which is in the same order as a deck thousands of miles away. Obviously, no one else watching the show can even begin to assume that your deck is in the same order. And if you want, you can also have another deck. You can pick that up to begin with, and you can show that person that you are shuffling your deck of cards to begin with. And then when you lower your hands, you would simply switch the deck on the table and you would pick up the other deck in its place. But ultimately right now, you will be telling the person to deal 1 card to the camera, 1 to themselves, 1 to the camera, themselves, back and forward until there are 5 cards in each pile. At this point, you will have them pick up the 5 cards which are closest to them, which on your table will be the ones that are closest to your computer. You will pick up those 5 cards, spread them as if you're trying to help them understand what it is they are to do. So when you say, look, pick up the 5 cards for yourself, look at them, but hide the backs in case some people think maybe the cards are somehow marked. When you say, look down at your cards and think about which cards you have, you are looking at the exact same cards in the exact same order they are looking at.
And for everyone else, just in case I haven't mentioned it yet, you'll see behind me on my shelf over here, there's an envelope that says poker hand. That will be very important later, okay? But Amanda, sit the cards, the rest of the deck, just set them off to the side for a moment. Yep, perfect. And I want you please to pick up your poker hand and look at what would be your 5 cards for me, Amanda. Can you do that?
Yep.
And don't say what they are, but keep the backs hidden as well, in case some people think maybe Bicycle have secretly marked the back of their cards. So put your other hand like that, just so that I can't even see the back. But the red card is the 3 of diamonds, am I right?
It is.
Yeah, hold it up, show everyone, let me see. Yes, okay, so that's 1. That's 1 card. There are still 4 to go, okay? Is it the 8 of spades?
It is.
Show the camera, let's see. Yes, okay, right. Let me try and get the others. So are the rest of them, are they all clubs that you're looking at right now? But am I right in saying, do you have the 2 of clubs, the 5 of clubs, and the 10 of clubs? How cool? Oh, spot on. Yes, all of them.
So you're now able to perform essentially a version of Chankanasta's card calling routine with their 5 cards. Every time you do this, it will be a different 5 cards because every deck will be shuffled differently and then cut to a different place. Those are the 5 cards that they are looking at, but of course at the very beginning of the routine, you've placed an envelope out of reach. Now the envelope that's out of reach is more or less identical to the envelope that will be on your table. The envelope out of reach, there are a few jokers in there just so that it does have a little weight to it. I would typically leave this over on my shelves over here, again much like the written prediction, so that it's out the way. The other envelope, I close it with the flap on the inside. Now whilst I am revealing the 5 cards that the person is looking at, I'm also taking this envelope beneath the camera, and quite simply, I take the 5 cards that I know that they will have dealt for me, and I simply slide them into the envelope like this. I then take the envelope and I leave the envelope sitting off the edge of the table right here. This other envelope is off on the shelves. So as you're revealing their cards, that's when you're getting your poker hand into this second envelope. Now later in the routine, when I go to pick this up, remember, no one knows that your deck is in the same order. So in their head, there is no possible way you can know which cards they have dealt to you. The person who has got the stacked deck, of course, you want to remind them that that envelope was up there before they even cut the deck. Even if that person thinks that you've somehow memorized their deck of cards, they know that there's no way you could have known in advance where they would cut the deck. So there's no way you should have known which 5 cards to put in here. So for them, this is still going to be impossible. Now you'll see on the video that I don't switch this right away. I leave it in sight for a little second and I start to ask the person some questions. I only switch it on the offbeat of when that person is talking, when people are laughing. But remember, you're going to show these cards first anyway, so even switching the envelope shouldn't help you at all.
We also have this for me. Now, Amanda, before we go any further, just confirm, have we ever met each other?
Briefly in Tampa for like 2 minutes.
Briefly, and it was like a Tinder date gone wrong, right? She hated me, we never spoke again. It was, no. Where did we meet? Tell everyone, just so that everyone
It
knows.
was in Tampa at one of your shows afterwards.
Like an illusionist show or like a show with Shin?
Illusionist.
Now the way that I do this is I make sure obviously the orientation is the same as the envelope that is on the desk. And when I go to switch it, as you see in the video, my hand literally dips out of screen for a second. As I throw the first one down, I lean back, pick up the second, and now this stays in sight. Now, I'll be honest and say that on the video performance, I made the mistake of not opening up the flap of the envelope, which you should do before you turn it round. Reach in, pull out the flap, turn it around, and show that inside of the envelope are some playing cards. And I would always spread these, and I will always show them first before the other person even picks up my poker hand. I turn them to the camera and I emphasize the 5 cards are the Queen of Clubs, 4 of Hearts, 6 of Hearts, Queen of Hearts, and the 3 of Hearts. I make sure that everyone gets a chance to remember exactly which cards I have predicted they will deal for me before they pick them up. And I want to emphasize that detail as well, so that when the person does pick up the cards, they remember everything I'm saying is true. So again, even if they somehow think you memorized the order of their deck, it's still impossible for you to have predicted these in perfect order in advance. Now, the invisible deck is an amazing routine, but I think it's fair to say that it's one of the most performed routines online as well. So by using this as pre-show, it is an amazing effect for that one individual, but it does allow you to set up things that should ultimately be miracles in the right hands. Because if you know the order of someone's stacked deck, I am not someone who does a lot, in fact, really any stacked deck work outside of the one routine that I do with the poker. But if you know a number of stacked deck routines, you now have a stacked deck in someone else's house, their deck, that you can now perform all of your stacked deck material with. Now with the invisible deck, the way I set mine up is that I have the hearts and the spades on one side, the diamonds and the clubs on the other. I also spread through with the backs facing me so that I don't need to do any math, but I do also pair up the red threes together, the black sevens together, the red queens together, etc. Just so that it's very simple to do in any environment. I take the double back card, I put it on the face with the hearts. Because there's a spade here, I know that that's the hearts and spades side. Those go into the box and it's now ready to perform. Of course, when I have someone name a diamond or a club, when I open this up, I know the clubs and diamonds are facing me. I just start by saying, look, this is the joker card. This now goes to the back. I spread through, and if their card was the 9 of clubs in their deck, that then is the one that I bring out the top and show that I predicted. Now, one touch that I found that makes the spreading of the cards slightly easier is that when you spread through and you get to the card that you want to reveal, my left hand thumb on the back makes contact with the card that I'm going to spread, and my right hand middle finger touches the face, the one that's connected to it, and basically the rest of the deck is gripped with the remaining fingers so that these two fingers basically slide those apart. So again, as I go through, if I need the 2 of diamonds, when I get there, those 2 fingers execute that move, it brings it out and it makes the full thing seem much smoother and not like you're trying to unstick a card from another card. Now, the language that you use is very important. You never want to say things to the people in the house who have hidden the card like, is there any way that card could be there? Because if you do ask that, they can quite clearly say, well, yes, we placed the card there. Don't do that. Simply by having them pick up the tissue box and show there's something there, it suggests to everyone else like that card has magically just appeared. With the stacked deck, for example, you could say to them, do you have any idea the order that that deck is in? And when they say no, you say, of course not. No one could. That's impossible. So cut the cards one more time. This way it seems like the deck is shuffled without ever actually allowing them to shuffle their cards. Now, one last thing that I want to make you aware of is that when you record the video of their deck of cards, you don't need to set the deck of cards up in that exact order. For my any card at any number routine, all I do is I take the video of their sequence and I airdrop it from my phone to my laptop so that later, when a number is named, I can very simply scroll through the video and count down to that exact position. Do you have a deck of playing cards there?
I certainly do.
Is it a full deck, do you know?
Yes. Yeah.
Wonderful. What I want you to do first of all is shuffle the deck. Yeah, keep the jokers out. Shuffle them. I want to try one quick thing with you before we get to the main event, okay? I have a deck here as well. This will stay in the box. That's important that you know that. But what I want you to do without looking is take one card. So move the cards under the camera so that I don't see what you do here, but don't you look either. Take out one card from the middle, so don't look at it, turn it up and put it back in the wrong way around. Does that make sense? So it's the only card upside down.
Yep.
Perfect. And I've turned one over in this deck as well, right? I'm hoping it's the same one, right? That should be fairly impossible, right?
It should be, yes.
Yes, do me a favor, spread the cards so that I see the faces. Not seen it yet. You can go a little bit faster. Perfect, perfect. I think you might have it. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Nope, nope, nope. And you've remembered what it is, yeah?
Yes.
Keep going, just let me check the last 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, take out the one card that you've turned over and just sit the rest of them down in a pile.
Okay.
Perfect. And let me see, I won't move. Show me what card it is. What card did you take out? Before we started, I turned one card over in my deck.
Okay.
This is the Joker card, right? But
Yes.
the card that I turned over, the only card in this deck that is the wrong way around, is the Six of Hearts, right? So this should work.
Fantastic.
Do me a favor, sit the Six of Hearts face down on top of the deck. Yep, pick up the deck, let me see, do this again. Hold them all
Okay.
up, and then square them up and put them away in the box. Put them in the box like that, Six of Hearts on top, in the box, and leave them in there for a second. I'm just gonna bring in a few more people, but you keep that deck in the box. That's gonna be very important in a second, all right?
Okay.
Nice
Thank you,
one.
Colin.
Cheers, mate. I'm going to put you in the waiting room, but don't go anywhere, and I'll bring you right back in.
Now, in the video that you saw, I made the mistake of forgetting that they put the card they turned over on top of the deck, which is why they took 19 cards and moved them off to the side. In reality, what I should have done was added that on. That was my mistake. There are some people who perform their any card at any number by having someone remove that number of cards. My personal preference usually would be to have the 10 of hearts in this case at the 19th position. However, it was only one card away. I made it seem before we started dealing like that was going to be the purpose, so it was still then impressive. However, just make sure you keep track of exactly where you're having people place the card after they remove it and turn it back around to place back onto their deck. So with the any card at any number, whilst I had the guy spread his deck of cards on the table to look at the faces of all the different cards, that's when I was going through the video to count down to the 19th position.
Martin, so Martin, who would you like to use first here in the nicest possible sense? Adam or Tom?
Well, let's go all the way to Glasgow.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're basing it on location or accent, right? It's and Martin, you've got a deck of cards in a box there as well, I saw, yes?
Yes.
Keep them there for a second. Right, so Tom, let's imagine you're at a roulette table. And let's imagine that you take the ball and you drop the ball on the roulette wheel and it's spinning around and it stops on a number. Now, a roulette wheel usually only goes from 0 to, I think, 39. I don't gamble, but I have seen them in passing. But from 1 to 52, if that ball was to drop on a number, and you can change your mind a few times, so you can go literally as high or as low as you would like. Totally up to you, but name a number right now from 1 to 52.
Out loud.
Out loud.
19.
19. And just to be fair, do you want to change your mind?
No, I'll stick with 19.
19, perfect. Now, Adam, you've got a deck of cards there, yes?
Yep.
Perfect. So you do me a favor, can you just take them out the box and spread them so that they're face up on the table?
Okay. Do you want to see
And I'm
them?
assuming, no, I don't want to see them, but I'm assuming, are they mixed already?
Oh, yeah.
If I just said to you right now, name any, just so I know how you think, if I just said to you, name any card out loud, what card would you say?
The 6 of spades.
6 of spades, but that's a very conscious choice, okay? So we have the number 19. You're going to pick a random card, but we're going to do it through a subconscious process. Imagine, kind of like Tom with the roulette wheel, imagine you're at the poker table and there's a deck of cards. Do you take out the red cards or the black cards? You pick.
Take out the red cards.
And it's hearts and diamonds. Have you seen The Matrix where it goes slow motion? Bullet time, yeah? You throw some up in the air, you pick. Do you throw the hearts or the diamonds? You pick.
Throw the hearts up in the air.
And it's slow motion. Imagine they're in order, ace all the way through to 10. Slow motion. Imagine you've got a lighter with a green flame. Do you burn the odd cards or the even cards? It's a green flame.
Burn the even cards.
And it's a green flame they're burning. So let's say the low ones are like the 2, the 4, the high ones, the 8 and the 10. You can turn 2 face down. Which 2 do you turn face down? You pick.
Any ones or just like high or low?
2, 4, 8 or 10. Which 2 of hearts?
The 2 and the 8.
2 and the 8. So you're looking at the 4 of hearts and 10 of hearts. Again, we're just trying to be random. You mix up the 4 and 10 and you hand one to me. Adam, do you hand me the 4 of hearts or the 10 of hearts? You pick.
I hand you the 10 of hearts.
The 10 of hearts. And Tom, your number was?
19.
19. Martin, would you kindly take the cards out of the box for us? Now, what you're going to do is deal off. You're going to throw away 19 cards, so the 20th one will be face down beneath, okay?
16, 17, 18, 19.
Pause. 19 cards have gone, and you
Yes.
wanted 10 of hearts. Would you turn over the next card and show it to the camera, Martin? What card is it?
Now, a simple technique that you could use to make this even easier would be to say to the guy, look, you've got a deck of cards as well. I want you to shuffle your deck of cards, and we're going to count down to the 19th card in your deck. Now, you will be the one counting here because you're going to basically count as you scroll through your video. So when you see the first card on the video, when you're looking at the video, it feels like you're looking at gallery view so that you can see everyone else. So no one can tell the difference. As you scroll through the video, you'll simply be saying that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way to 19. Now, if by chance the 19th card is the same card as the one in the extra deck, that is a miracle. That's the card that you'll have them choose. In the other 51 scenarios where it's not the card, you would just say, look, that is a physical selection, the Queen of Spades. But this isn't about the physical right now, this is about the psychological. So now forget about your deck of cards, and I now move into the equivoque sequence, and I force the card on them verbally. This essentially is a variation of the any card at any number routine that I first released on my Opening Minds DVDs, but now instead of using your own deck of cards, you're able to use a random spectator's anywhere in the world. Now, whilst I've used playing cards here to demonstrate all of these techniques, the reality is you will be able to think of a plethora of different ideas that you can apply this to. The ultimate goal, though, is to create moments of genuine astonishment all around the globe. Now, please do not share these techniques with anyone else. This project is designed to be the first in a series of downloads teaching a variety of different routines that you can perform on your virtual shows. So please feel free to keep in touch, share ideas with me, because what I would love to do is grow this performing medium into a platform where the magic we're able to do here is just as strong in its own right as the material we perform for people in real life.